Hello, Devlin here with you, and welcome to another edition of my pirate radio show. How you all doing today? See how I left space so you could answer it? That's professionalism. That means I care too, but yeah, you'd have to scream really loud because I probably wouldn't hear it. But hey, I do care how you guys are doing. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. What can I say? It seems like forever since I've done a full episode like this because with Corda having gone on her cruise, I did a lot of the episodes like all condensed in early May. And so now I'm just getting back into the swing of it. And I have good news to report. The ship did not sink. Corda is, alive and well, thank God. She had a great time. And I have put her right back to work. As she likes it, no time for pleasantries. Here's what I came up with. See, the problem is when she leaves me for a bit of time, it gives me time to get ideas in my head, gives me time to work things. So I came up with a lot of stuff, including Mondo Nostalgia, which may or may not have already started. I don't know if we got it up yet. From when we dropped this episode, but hopefully you'll get a chance to see it soon if you haven't already seen it yet. Anyhow, enough with that. It is Pride Month here, and last year I did a Pride episode, and I thought I'd do another one, but not quite as heavy-handedly in it. As I said, last year, Pride for me it's a wonderful time to express yourself, and, definitely big for the gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, asexual, whatever you want to be. But Pride for me is for everyone to just celebrate. I think Pride should just be proud of who you are. And that includes, straight people too. I know a lot of people would say, no, they don't get Pride because they get it. And I agree with that in some ways. But I think Pride should be shared with everything because I know a lot of people that, say Happy Pride to me, and it makes me feel good. I was at Value Village a little while ago, and I had a bracelet on with a rainbow on it. And this lovely little lady came, and she was very pleasant, and as she left, she said, Happy Pride. And I like when people say that. I know some people don't, but for me, I just think it's quite nice that it's kind of ingratiated. I know recently, all over Facebook and the news, Justin Trudeau was there raising the flag for Pride, and in Ottawa. And it got so many, people putting it on Facebook, and it made me feel really good. I'll admit, there was a side of me there was a little cynical side of me, but overall, it was such a positive thing. I didn't let any of the cynicism take away from what it truly meant. And the only cynicism I had was, sometimes when I see some of the people that post this stuff, I think their heart's in the right place, but I think sometimes they just do it, not because they necessarily believe in it. I think they do believe in it in their own way, but I think it's just easier than actually, going out and, befriending gay people or something like that. It's just, hey, here's a clip of, Trudeau raising the flag. But that's the cynicism I have for it. I always question the sincerity, I think there's a lot of people that are quite sincere about a stray, gay, any, thing. But I really think, it's just absolutely, I try to look at the sincerity. But I think sometimes people just do it to jump on the bandwagon, and they're like, okay, there, I've done my part. I didn't know exactly what to talk about on this episode, so I decided Pride for me, as I've said in the past, it's about yourself. So I thought I would talk about myself, and that's pretty much all I ever do on this show. Anyhow, so some of you are probably giggling because it's like, when don't you talk about yourself? But what I mean by that is that I'm going to talk about how my I don't care attitude is going. A lot of you may not still understand my philosophy, but I've basically been giving it a good try, and I'm still doing it. I'm basically dressing the way I want to, and, I won't try to analyze it again. You can go back to past episodes, because, some people might be angered when I say I don't care, but if anybody knows about what I'm doing, you know that I do still care. And for further analysis, please check past episodes. So anyhow, it's been working wonderful so far. I wouldn't say it's perfect, because I did have a little bit of a lapse, but we'll get to the lapse later. We'll stick to the positive. I've just been dressing the way I want. I've just been being the way I want. I love it because of the fact that I literally will just say my feelings. I try not to let them be bottled up anymore. I was having a bad day at work, and a couple of the supervisors came up to me to ask, what was wrong. And I won't go into details, because I don't necessarily like talking about work. But the truth of the matter is the old me would probably have just tried to write it off. But I didn't. I was honest. I was very vocal that I wasn't having a good day at work, and, they may have been, the responsibility of it. And they talked to me openly and honestly. And, I'm not saying it all got resolved, but I think they truly did feel where I was coming from. And I did feel that there was some impact because of it in a positive way. Also, I compliment people. I compliment people. I say hello to people more. People I don't even know. I just start up conversations with. Yeah, I've become that guy. I remember, and I'm not trying to be shallow here, but I remember there was this really cute guy. And, and I know I wasn't really hitting on him or anything. I just thought he was cute, and I wanted to make contact, and I just came up and said something very, something very simple, like, are you finding a lot of good things today and stuff here, at Value Village? And he started talking to me. We started having a nice connection. And it was nice. It was just like, there was a time I would have been afraid to do that, on the show I had with Jason Lambert, I mentioned how I was afraid. It took me a while to go up and talk to him. Now I'm taking chances, and most of the times it's worked great. And I noticed that my attitude, people talk with me. I remember one day I went shopping, and I was just in full mode. I remember I had, my shopping bags. I had my funky sunglasses on. I was drinking an Italian soda. Nice raspberry one, which I really enjoy. And I thought to myself, if I saw myself before, I would have thought, wow, what are you doing, Devlin? What's this? But I just embraced it, and I noticed that people were saying hello to me and coming up to talk to me, and I was giving out stuff in the world that I was getting back, and it's a great, great feeling. I did a couple things, that I would normally not do. I went to Trash Palace, which is a movie theater, a renegade movie theater that I'd like to talk about in the future. I'd love to get the guy who runs it in Hamilton on the show, but I'll have to work on that because I don't really know him that well. But with my new attitude, that wouldn't stop me. I'd just say, hey, could we talk movies? But anyhow, Trash Palace was like this, I can't remember even the name of the bar, but it was just off Hess Village. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say a biker bar, but it was kind of like that. And a taco place. There's some of you who, are saying, I know that place. Anyhow, I went in it. I, had my fingernails painted. I was looking all, out of place, but I didn't care. Everybody was fine with it. Wasn't there causing trouble or anything. And then basically I went in, and there was this renegade movie theater with a projection, with a projector, and they just showed old 16mm movies, and I absolutely loved it. It was great. And I took a chance. This is not something I would have, asked a friend to go with me, but I couldn't find anyone, or I didn't even ask, to be honest. I think about it. I think I asked maybe 2 people, and that was it. And then I went, and I didn't know anyone, and I talked a little bit to some people, but I just wasn't feeling it that night, because I was just fallen in love with the whole movie, and, you know, the stretched out canvas that was their screen and stuff, and it was so refreshing. And, you know, spending time at Silver Cities and stuff, I like just this renegade movie theater that they do once a month. And as I said, I really like to talk about my Trash Palace experience in the weeks ahead. Anyhow, but I went to their all by myself. I also went to Jason Lambert's concert. I promised him I'd go, and again, I invited people, but nobody, you know, everybody was busy or something, and I went by myself to the Corktown, very nice little pub. And again, didn't know anyone, sat by myself. There was a time I would have felt so, but I didn't. I was there, you know, I was, you know, feeling good. I had a great time. You know, I loved seeing Jay and Diego Deville play. Diego Deville? I'm always going to get that wrong. But anyhow, yeah, they were phenomenal. And there I was, rocking out with couple of bands and supporting the Hamilton Music Awards, and might I say there should have been more of you there, because I was surprised. These great bands are, you know, trying to show their stuff, and I was shocked at how little people showed out. And I'm not just talking about my viewers, I'm just talking all of Hamilton. You know, this was our big Hamilton Music Fest, and like little I'd say little to no support. And I was very surprised at that. Hopefully they got better turnouts at other venues or the awards show, because they were just, all the groups I saw were really good. Anyhow, so I've been taking chances. I've been taking big risks, you know, just speaking my mind, talking when I want to, you know, not being afraid of being goofy in front of people. I've also been doing that too. I've been joking around with people. Like, there are people at work that I just don't normally, you know, even respond to. And I find that I've kind of not made friends, I wouldn't say, but I've actually maybe made them see a side of me that only my really good friends get to see. And so this new me is working out really good. And now I won't lie. I will not lie. I did have a lapse, and it was a bad one. I didn't see it coming. It totally blindsided me. But basically, I can't even describe what happened, but after all the positive stuff happened, I went into a real funk. And for a moment, that funk went into a real dark place. Luckily, I am out of it now. So, you know, if you're concerned listening to this, don't worry. I'm past it now. But I was a little bit worried, and this is where my new attitude scared me a little bit more. Because I went shopping, and I could tell I was out of a funk. I had to get some stuff, and I accomplished everything I had to get. But anybody who knows me shopping, I can always buy extra stuff. I love shopping, and I can always buy like a DVD or some toy or something. Anybody who knows me, I usually can. But I didn't, so I could tell I was in a funk. That's my first way. I was actually concentrating on what I had to accomplish, and even though I looked around at stuff, it just didn't come. But instead of being positive with people, I was being negative, almost to the point of poking people. As in almost wanting to start fights. And the reason to start the fights weren't just to cause trouble, but one, to either almost get into a fist fight, or to get beaten up. And don't think I did it, I don't want you to think that I went and just started, being an asshole to people. It wasn't like that. But like if somebody was really did something against me, I kind of, instead of dealing with it in my more harmonious way that I would normally, I was just more edgy and didn't care what the end results came to. And that worried me a bit. Because I even felt bad because I posted a status about I wish there was a Fight Club. Because I always remember, I absolutely adore the movie Fight Club, and I remember the line, I feel like destroying something beautiful. And when I hear that line, I don't necessarily think of me just destroying something beautiful. I think of me being that beautiful thing that needs to be destroyed. And when I get to that point, I know that there is trouble to be had. So I did my regular, stay back from Facebook and stuff like that. But there is something to be said about going toe-to-toe. I've had kind of customers that I have, and I'm not saying this is the best way to be in retail, but, I've called them out as being rude or smug. I actually used the word smug, which I couldn't believe. And I don't do it to everyone because I'm pretty good. In fact, the last couple of weeks I've been getting praises for my customer service. But I've actually called out a couple people that I think were particularly treating me or one of my coworkers bad. And I stood up for myself instead of back down. And it's funny, one lady I actually called rude, and she got so adamant that she is not rude, she's not rude. And one of my supervisors said, I won't name names, but basically said, I don't think you're rude, I think you're just loud like me, and it comes off as rude. And the lady agreed with that. And when the customer left, I said to my supervisor, are you going to give me a talk for being rude? And my supervisor said, no, she was totally being fucking rude. I just can't say that. But I'm glad you did. Anyhow, that woman now comes to my register, and we've got like a good rapport. We joke, we laugh, we actually, absolutely get along. And I think it's because I stood up to her. Now, I'm not suggesting this for everything. Sometimes you deal with an asshole and there's no dealing with them. But I think sometimes you can put your foot down and show yourself a little bit. And this is what I did, and I'm glad I did, because I started noticing it. The lady I actually called smug was because she was like, had that, I told you so. And I just said, okay, I'm just doing my job. No need to be smug. And I giggled. Not that moment, but after I went to lunch, I just giggled because I never thought I'd ever use the word smug in my life. But anyhow, what I loved about it was that she actually apologized after. Because she saw that I was, just kind of pissed by her attitude, where I was just following my protocol, my job. And the lady apologized and said, look, I know you're a really good worker. I apologize if I, tried to make it sound like you weren't. And so, yeah. So overall, this new attitude is good. I just have to deal with it when I go through the dark moments. Then I think I'll be okay. But right now, majority would say that I'm going to continue with this I don't give a fuck attitude and still learn how to not give a fuck, because there's still times when, people will do things and I will take it personally, even though I know it's not personally towards me. And that's something I'm working on. But as humans, I've said it many times, we constantly are learning. I think I'll still be learning stuff on my final day here on Earth. Hopefully that's a long, long time away. We're about ready to wrap up this first segment. Yeah. Stick around for more great stuff. We will be talking pride and gay-themed subjects. And more of that coming up right after this. The time. Welcome back, and we're here on my second unofficial Pride Day episode. Happy Pride, everyone. And I'm going to talk about a TV show that doesn't get the love it deserves, and I really think it should, only because It was just a mesmerizing show, and it came around the time before people were binge watching and stuff like that. I'm not sure if this show is on Netflix or Show Me or any of those, Crave TV things. But if you get a chance to check it out, I desperately think you should. I'm talking about Queer as Folk. Now, Queer as Folk started in the UK with a small, like a 2-series miniseries, which only I think was about 10 to 12 episodes. But in 2000, an American/Canadian co-production was made as a remake of Queer as Folk, and it ran for 6 years. And it took a lot of the storylines from that, but obviously they had to expand on it because, they managed to get 4 more years out of it. And people, rave about the British one, and I did enjoy the British one, but I think the American one became so much more iconic. And sadly, it was embraced by the gay community, although I think some of the gay community did not like it. And that's too bad, because I think it was a fairly positive show. It basically followed the lives of a couple of gay men and 2 lesbians and the families connected to them. And although the show was probably notoriously known for its sex scenes and stuff, there was a real heart to it. They had kind of like 5 main gay characters, male, and then, as I said, the 2 lesbian characters. And out of the 5 males, there were like ones that they hoped everybody could identify with. They had, Brian Kinney was the player of the group. Then they had Michael, who was the sweet, innocent gay guy. Then they had, as I try to remember their names, they had Ted, who was kind of like the awkward one. They always kind of said he was the ugly, fat one, which was ridiculous because, one, he wasn't really fat. He wasn't even, out of shape all that much. Maybe not as much as the other guys, and he was certainly not unattractive. Then there was their Nancy Bottom, which is like their really flamboyant one, Emmett. And, Justin was the young gay guy just coming into the scene. So, it starts basically with somebody that everybody can relate to. Although it would have been nice to see like an actual like heavy gay person, but, we'll have to wait and see. Russell T. Davies, who helped create this newer version from the UK, who also did the UK version, says he's going to be working on another gay story where it could deal with that more. And of course, you had the 2 lesbian characters, Melanie and Lindsay, who were just phenomenal. And weren't perfect. They made mistakes, just like the guys did, so they were supposed to be like the moral family-based kind of like, one was a career-oriented, the other one was career-oriented too, but she was desperate to have the family and the wedding and the babies and they were just like, kind of always looked to be the social, middle ground, but they certainly had their share of problems. And Sharon Gless played the mother of Michael, who she was just an incredible character. Debbie Novotny, I believe. I might have pronounced that wrong. But anyhow, she was like the loving P-flag mother who gave a damn about her son and, would fight for every cause that the gay community could have. Now, the show was set in Pittsburgh, but it was actually filmed in Toronto's Church Street. And for many years, the cast and crew would hang out there. There's actually an episode where they actually go on a bike, like a charity ride, and they go from Pittsburgh to Toronto. And it's wonderful because, as I said, the show was filmed in Toronto. So when they said, I can't wait to see a Canadian bar, I can't see what a Canadian club was like. And they literally filmed in the exact same clubs. They just kind of moved things around a bit. And then they were like, almost like, this just looks like one of ours. But the inside joke was that, it was just basically, the same place. And it had a lot of humor in it, but there was a lot of heart too. And they dealt with so many issues that gays can relate to, and opened my eyes up to gay issues I didn't even know. You know, they dealt with stuff like bashing, gay bashing. They dealt with bullying. They dealt with sexual harassment. They dealt with, you know, STDs, fear of getting, you know, AIDS. They dealt with just everything. They dealt with addiction, you know, which, you know, can happen in the gay community, can happen in any community. And, like, they also dealt with stuff that didn't have anything to do with gay. It's not just gay, 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 but, you know, the show is Queer as Folk, so it is. The show actually did okay in the ratings. They were surprised when they actually did the ratings, because apparently the show was not only popular with gay people, but it was very popular with straight women. And when asked, a lot of the straight women said they liked the show because they enjoyed watching the man-on-man sex. There were some lesbian sequences, but mostly the show basically catered towards the male characters. But, yeah, the straight women loved it, watching, you know, two hot guys going at it. And of course, then there's the heart of the story. It just knew how to deal with intensities, and then it had a heart, and there was always some comedy to it. And, like, they didn't shy away from stories. They had one character get involved in the porn industry, you know, but then they dealt with stuff that I didn't know about, like, you know, people who were treating AIDS people like vampires and wanted to become sired by them, as in they were, you know, chasing them to get AIDS. And this is something I didn't know. You know, underground, like, gay activist groups that would go around, you know, harassing and bullying people. Like, it dealt with some stuff I didn't really know about. And then other things, you know. Now, Mike and I, this was one of our first shows we watched together. Every Monday night we'd watch a brand new episode on Showtime, and we looked forward to it, and were particularly saddened when it came to an end. This show, I've heard from many young gay people, was just an eye-opener, especially for, you know, gay men that didn't get to go to clubs or go to the social scene. They got to see a side of it. Now, some people say that the side they showed was a little too glamorous, you know, even though there were many topics that were far from glamorous. But most of the time they promoted, you know, like hot people at clubs and stuff. And yeah, I admit the show did side on the beautiful side of it a bit. But as I said, they did show the dark side, a lot of it, and it was a real eye-opener, and then you get, you know, nice sex scenes as well. But if you never saw Queer as Folk, it might not even think like it's your thing, but so many people embrace things that are not their thing, you know. You know, just because you're a fan of Breaking Bad doesn't mean that you're going to go out and, you know, cook and sell meth. You know, you're a fan of Game of Thrones, but that doesn't mean you're going to go out and slay everybody you see. Or Sons of Anarchy doesn't mean you're going to run out and join a motorcycle gang. And I think the popularity of these shows are based on the fact that they show us lives that we're not used to. So I don't understand why a show like this wouldn't be interesting to see, because I think this show would make you realize that we have problems just like everyone else, and it's a side of a life that you wouldn't see. I highly recommend Queer as Folk. I would say the American one first. The British one is interesting, but there are times that it almost comes off as a little extreme, a little cartoonish in points, and the ending to me was kind of a little abstract, is a nice way to put it. But don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the British, but I think the American one completes a story, and it recently just celebrated like a 25th anniversary. I think that's right. Or 15th anniversary? I don't know. I'm not doing the math right now in my head very well. I think it was 15. Yeah, 2000, it would have been about the 15th, 16th. So, they're already talking about possibly doing a Where Are They Now kind of thing. And it would be interesting, because some of the characters I've seen move on to other things. Others I seem to have disappeared. And I think some of the characters are absolutely phenomenal. Gail Harold, who plays Brian Kinney. Brian Kinney's supposed to be the above and end all of, like, hot guys. And what I like about it is they cast a really good-looking guy, but he's not drop-dead gorgeous when you first see him. But when you see his attitude and you see his swagger and his everything come to life, you start seeing it. You see why people seem to fall in love with him. There's surprisingly a lot of straight men that actually played gay characters on this show. And I really hope that, they had a great time with this character. Only because, I couldn't even imagine it. Michael was played by Hal Sparks, who is straight. And as I said, Brian Kinney was, Gail Harold is also straight. And, like, the sex scenes are so intense. But Hal Sparks was a stand-up comedian, and I was surprised he was actually cast. But when you watch the show, he is actually perfect as Michael in this. Randy Harrison is an openly gay actor now, and believe it or not, in the British version, the character Justin was played by Charlie Hunnam, who went on to be the lead in Sons of Anarchy and stuff. And when people say Charlie Hunnam, I remember him, before Sons of Anarchy. I remember him from Queer as Folk. I also remember him from Undeclared, which was a TV series that used to air. And Randy Harrison is so perfect because he's kind of, although Brian and Michael are the lead characters, Justin's character is supposed to be how we enter this world. He's just starting out in the gay community, and so he's kind of the one we see it all through. And he does a fantastic job. Charlie Hunnam did a great job as well, but Randy Harrison, absolutely phenomenal. Peter Page as Emmett Honeycutt, a phenomenal performance. He took a very flamboyant character and gave it so much 3 dimensions to it. The character goes through so much and is so much of the heart of the show. Ted Schmidt, played by Scott Lowell, he's as I said, they always say the dumpy one and that, and hardly. When you see this guy, he's like so attractive. But I always felt bad for him for that. But again, very interesting because he's very straight acting, even when you meet him, you probably wouldn't even think he was gay, and just a phenomenal performance. The 2 lesbian characters, Thea Gill played the character Lindsay Peterson, and Michelle Clooney played Melanie Marcus, and I love these characters. As I said, I liked them because they were so real. They didn't try to play them as like, we are the family unit in this show, so we do everything right. Oh, they screw up more than the others, and they do such a great job with it. And, we get to see their family life, and it's their aspect. While the other guys are out clubbing, we actually get to see them trying to build a family, and I like that they showed that through the lesbians. And I don't want to call them the lesbians, but you know what I mean by lesbian characters, because, it was just a real sense. But I also like that they didn't say, look how perfect our lives are. They hang with these boys for a reason. Lots of great supporting characters. My favorite character on the show will always be Debbie Novotny, like I said, played by Sharon Gless. Yes, the Sharon Gless who was on Cagney and Lacey. Her character as the smart-mouthed, the open-minded, free-thinking mother of Michael is just such a groundbreaking character and so important to see. when you used to watch movies or other shows, there was always parents that were unsupportive of their kids, and they always dealt with what it's like having to not have your parents' support. And it was so refreshing to see a mother who was like she'd always be wearing some gay t-shirt that would have some funny saying about being gay, even though her character wasn't even gay. Or the buttons or pamphlets. Mike always likes a line when Justin's mother's dealing with her son's, gayness, It's like, well, everything will be fine. I'll get you a button. Like a couple of pamphlets, maybe a meeting will help things out. But it really showed it, and I think in a lot of ways it showed hope for P-Flag. I think this show is important to the canvas, and eventually it didn't spin off, but eventually another show came about called the L Word, which looked primarily at, the world of lesbians. I didn't watch the show, so I can't really tell. But that show got critical acclaim and ratings, and I always hated that Queer as Folk was always kind of like the bastard child. Nobody watches this. It's not particularly good. Because I think, even rewatching it, as I have recently, I think the show's phenomenal. And if you like character-based shows, and shows that tell real stories, and can make you laugh, and maybe turn you on a little, I think Queer as Folk is a perfect show. So I'd check to see if you can actually binge watch this or thing, and I think you'll enjoy it, And if you have trouble, watching that kind of stuff, I have a feeling this show will help you through it, because it handles it like these people are human and not just like this is their lifestyle. Now stick with it for a bit, because at the beginning it does kind of feel like it's all about the lifestyle and stuff. But as you go, you see these characters as real people. And that's, I think, the essence of any great show. So there you have it, Queer as Folk. Check it out if you can. And I'll be back with our final segment, and I think I got a bit of a surprise for you. But I won't tell you until... Well, don't touch that dial. Hello! Devlin here with you, and we're stepping out, and Mike and I are here in a hotel in Perry Sound. And we decided to invite you along on our vacation for, well, at least 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And Mike is here too. I'll put it close to him so you can actually hear him. And I'm loud. What is the name of this? We should promote the hotel we're at.
This would be the Comfort Inn on Bow Street in Perry Sound.
So if you've ever been there, you know what we're broadcasting from. It's a nice little hotel. And like any gay couple, we're doing what all gay couples do when they have a romantic weekend away. Podcast. But anyhow, we're taking a little time out of our vacation to talk about Pride, because it is Pride Month. And we don't... many of you straight people probably think that, us gay people just sit around and talk about Pride all the time, but not quite. I wouldn't say we actually have ever really had that much conversation, except, should we go to Pride this year?
Should we see if Hamilton's actually doing anything? We've had that conversation.
Yeah, but you mentioned on the way up that we passed Barrie, and Barrie is supposed to be having their first Pride Saturday.
Yeah, I guess apparently when we'll be driving back tomorrow, probably before anything happens, Barrie is supposed to be having their first official parade, I believe. Not on the road we'll be on, obviously, but...
No, that'd be awesome, though. We could roll down the windows and wave. Imagine we got caught in a pride parade, Hey!
Oh, we got caught in that religious parade that one time.
That was awesome. If they only knew. But, no, I wish Barrie... I hope it's a success. I talk like it's coming up, but it's actually going to be past by the time we air this, but it's all good. I think it's great to see more and more places having Pride days. Now, we went to Hamilton Pride a couple times.
Yeah, quite a few actually.
Do you have any memorable stories you want to share?
Well, I do remember the first time that we went to one. It was at Dundrum Park, I believe.
Yeah,
and
there was a wedding. Just off to the side.
I remember the slightly confused looks on the faces of the families as this was all going on, where they're trying to take their photos.
I think it was the one time they did it at Dundrum Park, and what I loved about it is we saw this full-blown wedding taking pictures at the main house. But what I always liked that if the cameraman just kind of turned his camera slightly, there'd be this full gay pride with all these people like in rainbow colors dancing and stuff. Nothing says, straight wedding like a big gay pride wedding thing there.
Yeah, I know that once they moved to Bayfront and well Pier 4 specifically, it got much larger.
Yeah, it's nice. I've always wanted to go to the Toronto Pride, but then I talk myself out of it when I think of all the traffic and craziness. And then I think, yeah, then I can be ignored by more people in the gay community. But I like the Hamilton Pride because of the fact that it's always kind of small and it's kind of like a family picnic and it's nice. I remember, this is going way back, but one of the first prides we went to, you were actually pushing the baby carriage when Aaron was young. That's Corda's child.
Yeah.
And you actually liked pushing the baby carriage. It gave you something to do or something. But I remember we came up to a place that had a couple people that we had met through the Gamoras where we met
a couple years before.
Yeah, so Mike and I come walking up after like only been dating like maybe a year or something too. I can't remember. Might have been more. But anyhow, I remember I may have told this story before, but I swear the only time that we ever came close to being part of the gay community was when they saw us pushing this baby carriage. And these guys I think almost died because they just wanted to know how we adopted. How did these two adopt?
Yeah.
And do you remember that? They were just like, oh my God, you guys are like a couple and you've got an adopted baby girl.
The one guy came right around the table and he's looking, like, oh, you got something you want to tell us about?
Yes, Mike had a child. He found out how to get knocked up. Yeah, no, we were really popular for a minute. And then as we said, it was, it's kind of our, godchild type thing. It was like not as impressive anymore. It was like, so yeah, we were really, because everybody wanted our number and where we adopted from. We just stole her. We should have just made some elaborate thing for you. Now, you weren't at the gay pride where they had all the bearded Dorothys.
No, I didn't see that. Yeah.
I must have been with Corda for that one, but one of my first gay prides, there was a bunch of really husky bearded guys in like those plaid pinafores that Judy Garland wears in The Wizard of Oz, and they were all doing like a barbershop quartet version of Over the Rainbow, and I always thought, okay, I always think prides aren't going to be as gay as I thought, but yeah, this is pretty gay on the gay radar,
Well, wasn't the first one you went to, or one of the first, actually in like the courtyard of a church or something like that?
Yeah, I don't think it was the church. It was a museum.
Yeah, so really not a church.
Yeah, no, not a church. It was like a museum. I can picture it totally in my head, but I couldn't tell you what it was a museum for. But I know it was down the McNabb area. And I remember the only time I went into the museum is when I went to the bathroom, and I can't even tell you what it was. I want to say, like, it wasn't the water treatment center. I can't remember. Yeah, Pride's been all over, but I'm happy that they've stuck with Pier 4. Now, when you were coming out and stuff, did you ever expect you'd be in, like, a long-term relationship? I think 15 years is pretty much long-term at this point.
No, I didn't expect that just because I felt, well, I just bought into most of the stereotypical things that I just heard from TV and, just stuff like that. 6 months is considered a long time in a gay relationship.
Yeah, and I know that's not true now because I've met a lot of gay couples that are together, like they've been together for ages. I don't know if they're necessarily happy, but a lot of straight marriages I know are very happy. They just stay together for the numbers. But we're still happy, I think. Should I go to the other room while you answer this? I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but has it been everything you thought it would be? Like, is it?
It's been more than I thought.
Oh, that's a nice answer.
No, it's just like, well, it's hard when you've never had a long-term relationship to know what you're going to expect from it because you really only have, like, your family or friends to compare it to. I mean, obviously I knew that our relationship was going to be different than, things that like my sister or whatever went through when they were going through their relationships, because obviously we want different things. And
Yeah. They wanted like family and
yeah.
awesome careers, and we wanted like action figures to put up on our thing. And we like to pick up like little candles and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we are stereotypical gay people.
But,
yeah, I know. I think people are always a little. I think I shouldn't say disappointed, but when they come over to our house, I think a lot of people love hanging out at our place. I think because it's very homey, I think it's very welcoming. But I always make the joke I gotta hide all the the dick statues that we have, because I think when some people think, oh, we're going to a gay house, and we do it too. Like sometimes I've been to gay people's places, and I always look for the obligatory, gay guys hugging poster or something.
Or it's like, the place will be as like masculine and like, just like really like simple and really, just like all like steel finishes and black furniture and all that, really masculine looking. And then you go in the bathroom, there's like the little delicate pedestal with all the little soaps in it.
Yeah. But I think people are kind of like, I think they think we should be more into decorating and stuff. I think they're like, oh, they're two gay guys. They should have like immaculate decorations. But I think they're kind of relieved when they see that we concentrate more on how we're going to display our toys than we are like, oh God, do those chairs match?
Well, just slapping some fresh paint on the wall was decorating for me.
Oh. Well, I know, but it's funny because I think there are stereotypes, and I think we buck the trend. I think your aunt almost went nuts when she saw all our mismatched chairs. Like she kept bringing up that one gold chair over and over again because it's like,
Well, I wasn't sure.
Get rid of that ugly chair.
Yeah, I always remembered that time where she just had the blue say, "You still have that ugly furniture?"
Yeah,
that's a conversation starter.
Yeah, that's what everybody has. Nobody's surprised by this. Everybody has a relative like that, at least one, who calls you out on everything. And I can't believe she'd say that, but.
We love her though, but she
we
just
totally love her,
says what's on her mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're always so happy to show off our place and like look at our happy little apartment, and most people love it. Most people tell me they just love hanging out in our place because it's just so welcoming, and when we have our little get-togethers or our video dance parties. Now you never expected to be doing that. That's pretty much as gay as we get when we move the furniture and put on videos.
Yeah.
And then I'm like dressed up as more flamboyant than I normally am. You never expect to entertain like that ever.
No.
Did you like that too? I think you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the one that usually always does up the, you make it look nice for us.
Yeah, I do more of the prep work, and then
I'm the host, and then you're like, go heat up some weenies. And again, we don't go and do like the flowery stuff. We just like, put some corn on. Corn. I don't think we've ever served corn on one of our nights, but you never know.
I don't know. One night we should just serve nothing but corn on the cob and see how that goes over.
I'd love it. I love corn on the cob. What else can we talk about with pride? Now, I would say I'm more into the gay culture than you are. And that doesn't mean I hit on more guys than you. Or I'm always like, ooh, that guy's hot.
You do have more of an interest in movies and entertainers from that.
Because you're fine watching anything, but I'm the one who like, oh, you got to see this great gay movie, and I think sometimes Mike's like, oh, I better put up with this. No.
I also find that the definition of pride has actually changed even since we've met.
Oh, please.
Well, I find that
this is Mike being enlightening.
Especially nowadays, I find it's almost all inclusive now. It's like it can't just be gay pride anymore. It's got to be every like fringe of it.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Every aspect. And I welcome straight people. Anybody who listens to me knows I promote that you should be proud to be straight. You should be proud. To be honest with you, I think you should experiment on this month. But that includes me too. When I was younger, before I met you, I still to this day kind of wish I was bisexual, because I get the attraction of women. Just, I I'm very good friends with a lot of women and some incredible women, but I also see women sometimes in their unattractive way. That's why I know I'm not attracted to them, because I'm like, with all due respect, ladies, it's like sometimes I'm like, I couldn't put up with that. And yeah, but I think they're beautiful and stuff. But honestly, I wish we were all more experimental in that. Maybe this is a little too deep, but I think it's horrible when you hear people going, and I've talked about this on my podcast, when people go on about how, oh, I got to find my soulmate, I got to fall in love, and I went through that too. But, if you're looking for just one gender, you're not really looking for a soulmate. You're looking for like genitalia, like an IKEA map, point A goes into point B kind of.
Well, it's like a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, it's the way society is. They want to meet their perfect person, but that person has to hit their list of requirements as well.
Yeah, and like I think it's a good thing. You don't want to be with somebody that you won't be, but I hate when people go on about, oh, soulmate. Well, if you're looking for a soulmate, you're looking for someone that you just want to bond with. If you're looking for like just somebody who's going to knock you up, or somebody you're going to knock up, then you're looking for just breeding material. Boy, we're talking like real gays here now. We're like breeders.
Like I talked to a lady. Well, I didn't talk to her. I overheard talk to someone else saying that she would go and meet a lot of different guys through like a dating site. And she said that within like 30 seconds, she can tell if, this is going to be something she's going to invest her time in, or if this is just going to be a nice dinner and that'll be it. And it's like 30 seconds she's decided already.
They claim that. Which I don't know if I could do that. I see a, hot guy or something, and I'm like, yeah, I do him. I don't even care what his personality is, but, that's just me. Now, I used to make fun. I don't know. You can be honest now. I used to make fun because I'd say, hey, isn't that guy hot? And it just wouldn't be your type. And I'd always make this joke that says, you're going through a phase. You're not even gay. Did that ever bother you when I did that? Because that became almost like, if this was a TV series, that was almost a catchphrase of mine. Like, you're not gay. That didn't bother you.
No, it doesn't bother me.
No.
I like that, in our circle of friends, everybody has their little things, little, like, jokes and just things that we play on sometimes, and that's just one of mine.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I know a lot of people when they see us and they get to know us, I think anybody who really gets to know us sees our closeness. But I think when people don't know us that well, they think, why are they together? Because they are so different. Because I'm more of the social media whore, and you're more like, I want to be quiet. I don't want to do that, and that's why I don't force you out to things. If I think it's something I really think you should go to this, you usually are right there. Mm-hmm. And a couple times you've even surprised me to say I'd like to go to this, but I can tell, like, yeah, he's not gonna like this. And it's not a bad thing. And people are always like, well, geez, are you two together still? And I go, because we have a lot in common. You don't see the behind the scenes, as in we have a dark talk and we can talk about pretty much anything. But
well, I guess when you're like looking for someone to be in your life, do you want to take a chance and just learn to, like, I won't say accept, that doesn't sound right. Just learn to it's not even learning. It's like when you meet someone who's different from you, you get to learn about different things, and you find that there's different sides of you didn't know about, and that you actually have different interests. I mean, you completely expanded my whole knowledge of movies and music. I mean, there's so many things I didn't know anything about that you introduced me to.
And you shared a lot of new music and stuff like that with me,
but it just surprises me the people
movies
that want to go out there and just basically just want to find another version of themselves.
Well,
that agree with everything and enjoy everything, and just, everything they like is exactly the same.
Well, that's what I keep telling people, and it's a very good thing. And this is not just for young people, although it's a great thing to teach young people, but there's a lot of people set in their ways older. And as I get older, when I was younger, I tried to wrap myself around people that I had a lot in common with. But honestly, in life, you should try to make friends that are different than you. I have friends that are older than me. I have friends that are younger than me, and they each teach me different things. I have friends that are richer than me. I have friends that are poorer than me. They teach me things. I have people of different ethnicities. I can't say it, but you know what I mean.
Ethnicities.
Different races, different cultures. A lot of straight people. I have some gay friends. I always joke that I don't, but I do have some. I learned from all this. I think you should just meet different people. I think sometimes just meeting a stranger, even if they don't have anything in common with you, you'd be surprised that maybe there are some things that you do have in common. Or, hey, I'm going to look at that a different way now. And I think that's a great thing for Pride, is to go out and don't be afraid to meet people that are different. I do think, nowadays it's all like, I'm a gamer. I can only play with gamers and be friends with gamers. But try to be friends with other people. You'll really surprise yourself. And I think that's a positive way to leave this gay pride episode. And we need to get back to our vacation.
Yeah.
Here in glorious downtown Perry Sound, which, when I first came here, I thought it's a nice little town, but I actually really like it now. There's lots of places. I'm surprised how much I know of it now. And it's always nice to see your dad and stuff, and the cottage and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been a great trip for you so far?
Yeah, it has been. It's been, a little emotional too, but, this is the first time I've gone to visit my dad where it's just him on his own.
Yeah.
Which is very different when I'm used to seeing him with my mom all the time.
And I know when you probably drove around that corner the first time to the cottage and not seeing your mom there, because your mom sometimes would wait there with him, and that was probably hard for you.
Yeah.
Well, we are making the most of it. We're having fun. We're having memories. We're, us having sentimental moments. And we are now going to get back to that, because we shouldn't be spending all our day cooped up in a hotel room podcasting. So we're going to go enjoy the sunshine, and you do that too. Happy Pride, and thank you for listening to this episode. Would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
I will talk to you all very soon.